Motherfuckers, ladies and gentlemen, Warp Nation, son. It's been like, I don't know, it's been, we'll say this is day number 4, because everybody's been asking what happened at day number 2, and the rumors are true. There was nude girls in that last video, and it got taken down by YouTube. A lot of crazy shit going down. Dynamite's explosion. There were monkeys dancing around with leashes on the neck and it was crazy. So it got taken down. But at one point, I might reinstate it. I don't know. I might bring it back. I don't know. We'll find that out. But this is day number 5 without my motherfucking Asus laptop, and I kind of bit myself in the ass because I got rid of the other one. So the one I had previously, because I didn't anticipate this one going fucking sour. So, I guess I will have to run through the last couple, hellish days. Yesterday wasn't so bad. I went to see Slipknot in Lowell, Massachusetts. That shit was dope. We skipped the lines. I met up with an old buddy. My brother and I went. Shit was dope. But I figure, whilst, yes, I used the T. The T is not silent in that last word. Whilst my computer is out of commish, which is a word we say with the big leagues, commish, I'll share a story with you guys. And I can't believe I'm doing this. This story is pretty bad. Yeah. There's really not anything good about this story, but, it's not one of my most proudest moments, but, it's relative to the situation. Not really, but we'll say it is. So, without further ado, this is one of the worst things I've ever done. So, my brother was out at a bar, okay? People are like, oh, you're... So he was out at the bar, and he called me. I was actually getting ready to go to sleep. It was like 1 in the morning, and he calls me, and he's like, I'm going to use my secret code name, because some people don't know me. And so he's like, hey, Worm, can you come pick me up? And I said, hey, motherfucker, it's like 1 in the morning. What are you doing? He was like, I need a ride. The kids I'm with was drunk. So he looked for me for, to get him home sober. So I said, oh, okay, sure. The bar's 10 minutes from my house. So I throw my... It's very cold up here in the Northeast, too. We're the first north. So I figured, I was like, all right, I'll go start my car. And I just threw on some gym shorts. And I threw on a T-shirt and a little hoodie. I wasn't dressed for violence, okay? So, I go to pick him up, and, he's kind of upset when I pick him up. And I said, hey, what's the matter? And he had just bought a Columbia, not a Columbia, a North Face hoodie. And the North Face hoodies are like $80, give or take, okay? So, he came out, and he just had a shirt on. And I said, hey, where's your shirt? Where's your hoodie, I mean? And he said, well, I think someone in there took it. And I said, they took it? I don't know. No, you could have misplaced it. He said, no, somebody took it. So we drive off, and he says, we turn around, and I say, yeah, sure, so I turn around, and he says, I just want to check one more place, because he just got the hoodie, or the coat. So he goes inside, and he comes out, and we're going to call this adversary Shrek. We'll call him Shrek. So he comes out, and he sees Shrek standing over. He's a big, tall motherfucker, like 6'5". So he's tall, am I saying? Okay, I'm 5'11", almost 6 feet. My brother's 5'11", so 6'5", that's like 5 inches at least, maybe 5.5, I don't know. So he's standing there with the coat on, and he knows it, and the North Face has like a thing right here on the back, and so he goes up, and, give or take, anybody could have had another of the same coat. So my brother goes up, and he says, excuse me, in a very, very polite manner, excuse me, I just didn't know if you accidentally grabbed my coat by mistake or something like that. And the way you can tell someone's lying is when they start swearing a lot when they're not naturally a big swearer. So he goes up and he says, he's making small talk with him, and then he says, but could you have possibly taken my coat by mistake? And all of a sudden his demeanor changed, and he was like, well, fucking no, I didn't take your fucking coat, and that's how you know someone's lying, when they're swearing repeatedly out of character, when they don't seem like somebody who swears or anything, you know what I mean? So, and I know people are like, well, maybe he's just mad that he took his dough. So what happened was, my brother had instinct. We got motherfucking instinct in this bitch. So he walks up and he was like, well, I think that's my coat. And he said, oh, is that your fucking coat, blah, blah, blah. So then, 2 days before that, my brother had bought me it's funny, a Duck Dynasty lighter that says, and that's a fact, Jack. And he left that lighter in the coat. So, back to the main story. My brother then decided, and he walked up and he was like, "You didn't take my coat." And he's like, "No, this is your fucking coat." So then my brother reaches in the pockets of the coat, pulls out the lighter, and puts it on the minivan that homeboy was chilling next to. And then all of a sudden, his demeanor changed, and he took off his glasses. He was a Coke bottle wearing motherfucker. So he took off his glasses and he puts them on, in the car. And then, there is a little confrontation. I walk up and I'm getting ready to troll, stop this motherfucker. And then, but then I was like, oh, boy, maybe it's not worth it. So then, out of nowhere, there's a little commotion going on inside the fucking the little van. And this guy in a wheelchair scoots his way on out of that motherfucker. And I thought, oh, thank you. A voice of reason. Maybe he can negotiate with this big guy. Maybe he can tell him that, he picked up the wrong coat or whatever. So Turbo fucking wheels his way out of the wheelchair like fucking Rambo. And then he comes up and out of nowhere, he wasn't calm or demeanor at all. He walks up and he starts shoving into us, like bullying us with his fucking wheelchair. He's smashing into my brother, and my brother didn't. He was like, "Hey man, listen, this is between me and him. What you got to do with it?" And it's not like my brother was bigger than the guy. The guy was bigger than him. So I'm sitting there, and the little guy's like, "Bam!" He's like, "You want to?" And the first thing he said was, "You want to fucking fuck?" And I was like, "Fucking fuck!" I was like, "What the fuck does that even mean?" I was like, "Hey man, listen, back the fuck up. This has nothing to do with you. What was he really gonna do anyway? You know what I mean?" He knew his buddy was in the wrong. He got caught, so he thought he was gonna cause a big commotion. So my brother just said, "Please go away, man. This is between me and him." And I thought, listen, you ain't gonna bully nobody with your motherfucking handicap, okay? This isn't me saying anything against those kind of people, but when those kind of people use a handicap as their advantage, like when they use a handicap as a handicap, that's fucked up, and that should be, that you should not do that motherfucking shit, okay? Anyway, so he's bashing into us, and I thought I'd back up, and I'm like, "Listen, man, back the fuck up. This has nothing to do with you." And he says, "Fuck you." And I was like, "Fuck me." I was like, why are you so angry, man? And then he rolls up, and he's like, I thought he was going to nut punch me. I thought, because he was perfect level with my motherfucking nuts. And I was like, you better not. Like, okay, and a little thing my brothers and I have done jiu-jitsu and stuff like that for multiple years. So we get in a couple scuffles and stuff. That's no thing. We've done that shit. We've fighting a long time. So we know when to differentiate ourselves from that shit, okay? So he decides that it's a good idea to walk up and start bashing us with the wheelchair. And I was like, "Man, you better back the fuck up." And he looks at me and he says, "You think you could fucking talk to me that way?" And I say, "Talk to you that way? Motherfucker, you think you could talk to me that way just because you ain't bullying me with no motherfucking wheelchair? Back the fuck up." And I know people are like, "Oh my god, that sounds so horrible." But it gets worse. So it's not a bad thing. It's just, you're going to run out and act like you a big badass. But so he bashes me one more time, and I say, "You better back the fuck up, man. You better stop that shit." And he says, "Fuck you." I say, "Fuck me? No. Fuck you." And without a moment's notice, I shoved that motherfucker as hard as I could, and he barrel rolled out of that fucking wheelchair. And then a chaos ensued. But listen, I did not start the process. I simply reacted because he shoved into me, and it was my immediate reaction to A, what was I going to do, run away? Let these motherfuckers take the coat? Or B, retaliate? So he should have stayed out of the motherfucker, but he rolled past his buddy, and then, turtle on his back, that motherfucker, so we got scooped up, and then all of a sudden, as soon as that happened, I got grabbed, and I was like, "You motherfucker!" And I went to, turn around and grab the dude who grabbed me. It was a big, huge ogre fuck. These guys, remind you guys that it was just my brother and I, and there were 14 of these motherfuckers, but we didn't care, so try to roll over and grab the guy who grabbed me, and all of a sudden, boom, he gets fucking rocked, and then my brother got blasted in the face by a big security dude, and I was like, "Whoa, there's a bunch of motherfuckers," and he was like, "I'm gonna get him," and I was like, "We gotta go," and I grabbed him. So we got in my SUV. I have an SUV in the summertime, or in the winter. So we didn't even get the coat because Turbo wanted to fuck that shit up for us. We weren't able to really do anything about that coat situation because as soon as that happened, I thought about it later. As soon as he came out, he knew a fight or something was going to ensue, and it would prevent us from getting said coat. So as soon as we get in my SUV, whoa, the fucking swarm of zombies, like everybody's attention suddenly turned on the fucking SUV, and I was like, ah! And they were like, rah! And I was like, oh shit! And he was like, ah! And I was like, okay, so I was trying to get out of the way, but they were everywhere, and they were trying to drag onto the fucking the roof racks in the window, and they're hitting the gun, and I was like, rah! And like they tried jumping on, but I don't have running boards, so it pays to be cheap, and they were trying to, so then I go, and then, you know, it's a V8, it's got a little, you know, a little power, so I'm driving, and then all of a sudden, I go to the side of the road, and I'm driving past, but I have a radar detector, and I saw the cop, and there was a cop that passed us right by. We got out of there just in time, ladies and gentlemen. So as soon as that happened, he must have went to that area, but we got out fucking scot-free, but the only thing was, he didn't get his coat back, and the main thing was, he knew the dude had his coat. I knew the dude had his coat, and the dude knew he had his coat. But Turbo and his ragbag gang of goons had to fuck that shit up for us, and they got away with an $80 Columbia. And, yeah, I don't think there was any moral to this story besides, you know, you can't let motherfuckers use handicaps to cripple the opposition. You can't, you know, like, why? Would homeboys have acted that same way if the playing field was even Stevens? It was just two of us. There was like 15 of them. I don't know. I don't expect all you motherfuckers to be on board with this shit either, but it's the truth, and the shit was, you know, it was a crazy story. It's not my proudest moment. I'm not saying, you know, I'm not advocating that shit, but that's what happened. And I'm honest with you motherfuckers, and I guarantee you, nobody else out there would tell you a story like that, because they're too scared of what people are going to think about them. But you guys know I don't give a fuck about that shit, and it's the truth. And, you know, Worm Nation, that's a true story. Day number fucking 4 with no computer, son. It's been the Worm, son. Pieces.